So, I go in like I always do, and there's an inspection. I go in at the very end. Hey, did we find anything? Is there anything any big issues? And Blake's talking. It's like, no, I think, it's a good house. It's a good house. But, hey, can you do me a favor? It's like, what's that? He's like, can you just touch this stove? I was like, okay, sure. I'll touch the stove. And, like, nothing. And he's like, that's weird. He's like, maybe lean and touch, farther back. So I put my hand on the range hood and lean and touch back. It goes, bah!
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's it. It wasn't me.
Trying to figure out what was shocking. But yeah.
Well, it was shocking.
The shocking was later that night when his wife called me and said, excuse me, never do that again.
Right.
Real talk, let's get down to it. Jimmy and Rodney, they're gonna walk you through it. From the market trades to the best spots in town. Software, real talk, we got it all going down.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for another Sci-Fair Real Talk. We are your hosts. My name is Jim Mulholland.
And I'm Rodney Jordan.
And welcome to episode 13.
13,
big
baby.
Number 13. This
Baker's
is
dozen.
this is a big episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time.
Jim, we're going back to back.
Yeah, well,
This is
that's
back
one.
to
Yeah,
back.
we did.
Ooh.
Episode yesterday and today.
Back to back.
But this is the first time we have a guest on the show that is not part of Sci-Fair Real Estate.
Yeah.
So this is exciting. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome our guest. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Blake Salcetti.
Hey, happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Blake. So, what a perfect guest to have for our first guest. Blake, I have known Blake since basically I started the company.
Yeah. Back before it was Sci-Fair Real Estate.
It was very
Okay.
good, yeah. Mulholland Realty back in the day.
Look at that.
Yeah. So, so Blake, I'm not really sure how we met, but I know he used to live in Cypress Creek Lakes.
Okay.
And he lived across the lake from my mom.
Yep. I remember that.
But I still don't know how we met.
I have a vague recollection that you somehow got my number as an inspector
Okay.
from, one of the little town things.
Oh, like a Facebook Live,
Something
like
Facebook
that.
group or something.
Chamber of Commerce. That's
I know
what it is.
because you mentioned that you were
That's
a
what it
member of
was.
that, and I
Oh,
went,
that
that's
might
probably it.
Okay.
And then it just turned out that you had twins and I had twins, and
Same age.
we both had an older one too.
Same,
Okay.
just our last guest, Tammy Bayo, also has twins.
No, I didn't know that.
that are going to be sophomores in high school. So,
Oh, boy.
craziest thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Three sets of twins all in one building.
I know, exactly.
The twins all coming together.
All on Sci-Fi Real Talk. So, that is crazy. But, yeah, so Blake was like my first inspector I ever used. But it's always done a great job. But yeah, before we get to all of that, well, as part of all of that, let's learn. So tell us a little about the name of your company that you started. I know you have multiple. Let's go with the original, the
Okay,
OG.
so the original company is called Texas Certified Home Inspection. I started that back in 2009. Prior to that, I was a builder. That's kind of how I got into it. The market went soft in 08, 09. And I was looking for something different to do, and crazy to start a home inspection company in a soft market, but boy, it took off for us regardless. So
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
So,
awesome.
loving
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, that was a little risky starting a business there in 2008 and 2009. Yeah,
paid off.
we just talked about that time frame in our episode yesterday because there is some news that came out. The months of inventory in Houston is the most months of inventory we've had since October 2012.
Really?
So
Yeah.
when I mentioned to Rodney yesterday, I was like, that was right after the whole bank collapse
Yeah.
of
Right.
2008, 2009 recession that we had. So, so our months of inventory has not been this high since then. So interesting little tidbit. So
Yeah.
prices haven't fallen or anything. So nothing else has changed so far other than there's a lot of inventory. I think a lot of it's the builders. I think the builders have
We're
a lot
doing
of-
a lot more new construction right
Exactly.
now.
Are you?
So, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Even my assistant yesterday was like, we have 10 new construction already for next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, a new construction's hopping for sure.
Yeah.
I'm liking the
That's great.
fact that they're getting the homes inspected, the
Right.
new construction. A lot of people don't know that. But I'm going to tell you something about your businesses that I noticed.
Okay.
All right? Don't worry. I love the slogans. with all of, and it's not what you would expect, it's what you inspect.
You know, my dad has said that to me my entire life.
Okay.
He was a builder. He was president of Ryland Homes for almost 30 years. And I heard that, I don't know, weekly, maybe every other week. And I had a very proud day for him when I put that on my business card.
I noticed it, and I really do
I'm glad to
appreciate
hear
that.
that.
Man. Yeah, I saw that. I go, he's got some stuff he's saying there. So I just wanted to dip in a little bit on that. But yeah, thank you for the backstory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very creative slogan. So yeah, so you're kind of legacy home builder, construction.
You know, I was walking homes with him when I was 2 years old.
Wow.
He would, we would be driving by one of their neighborhoods, and on a Saturday afternoon, and he'd just cut right and pull right into the neighborhood, and we're out walking homes just so he's checking up on the guys, making sure it's clean, making sure the homes are looking good for potential buyers. But yeah, I've walking homes my entire life pretty much.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. So tell us a little about the company. How many inspectors do you have?
So-
What areas of Houston do you guys inspect in? And a little more background.
So I've got 5 inspectors. We blanket the city all the way to Galveston. Been out to Orange a few times, up in College Station quite often actually, and all those little towns out west. Down I-10, we hit all those as well. So pretty much wherever somebody needs an inspection, we'll head out there and get it done for them.
Okay.
And so
Do you try to keep your inspectors in particular areas, or do they go everywhere?
they go everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't really they don't complain. If they got work, they're happy. So.
Right.
Which is great. It gets our agents taken care of, and gets the customer taken care of too.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. That's awesome. So you said you're doing a lot of new builds. Do you have a favorite builder, or are any builders better than others? To put you on the spot in terms of, man, I got this builder. We know we're gonna find X, Y, and Z like every time, or I got this other builder, and it's like, oh yeah, it should be pretty straightforward, or does it vary based on neighborhood?
It's the man or woman watching the job for the most part. If you got a guy that's trying to build, and I used to train superintendents. I was a superintendent for quite some time. It really depends on the man or woman watching the job, because some people try to build it from their truck. They never get out and walk the homes.
Right.
When I started, back in 01, I was in a trailer with 5 guys. The first 3 days I said nothing, and I just sat back and I watched who knew their stuff and who was just messing around. I kind of, after the 3rd day, I attached myself like a little puppy to 2 different guys. Because I watched and learned from them, and learned a tremendous amount from both of them. So one of them I still talk to. He's a good guy, and he trained me well. So that was helpful. But again, it just depends on the person watching the job. Now there are some builders, certainly they're going to use better materials and better finishes and better trades and all that. Trendmaker is a really good one. Village Builders, that's where I cut my teeth. Lennar Village Builders. You're always going to have some negatives that people are going to say, but for the most part, those 2 are my favorites. They take care of business, and they do what they're supposed to do for the most part. So
it's a hard job. It's definitely a hard job. But I answer that question similarly, the same way. It's not the builder; it's the person walking the home.
Yep.
Walk in the home, and that's it. You can go to any builder and say, oh, they're just great. But it's the person who's driving that home, and their attention to detail, their level of training, their level of accountability.
Sure.
I mean, we got a lot of technology now, and you can build a home via Build Pro and an app on your phone. But it's hand holding, it's watching the trades, it's catching things early. Those are the things that keeps the house moving.
That's absolutely right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. So with that said, we always get the question from people buying new homes. I'm getting a new home. Do I really need to get it inspected? You do find things on new home builds, right?
You do. It's like a 85-15 rule in my mind anyway. 85% of the time we're going to find little stuff, nothing crazy.
Right.
But then there's that 15% when you're just like, wow, how did they miss that? And we see those, and it's, sometimes it's really shocking. I had a house that the roof wasn't supported at all, brand new construction.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, where's the purlin braces? Where's this, nothing, and so that 15%, that's the scary stuff. So
right. I have a funny story with a new construction inspection that Blake did for me, where the stove range was
I got in trouble for
not-
that.
but it was not grounded. So, I go in like I always do, and there's an inspection. I go in the very end. Hey,
Yeah.
did we find anything? Is there
What do
anything
we
issue?
got?
Any big issues? And Blake's talking. It's like, no, I think it's a good house. It's a good house. But hey, can you do me a favor? It's like, what's that? He's like, can you just touch this stove? I was like, okay, sure, I'll touch the stove, and like nothing. And he's like, that's weird. He's like, maybe lean and touch, farther back. So I put my hand on the range hood and lean and touch back. It was, bah!
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's it. It wasn't me.
Trying to figure out what was shocking. But yeah,
Well, it was shocking. It
the
was
shocking
shocking
was later that night when his wife called me and said, "Excuse me, never do that again."
Right. Never
Yes,
allow
ma'am.
my
I was getting
husband
ready
to
to
be
say.
pick again.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, no real estate agent was harmed in the filming of this episode. There you go.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, it was a new construction, and
It
they just
was.
didn't ground it, right? They didn't.
That was shocking.
Right.
For lack of a better word.
Was not excited. He didn't even give me a warning. He didn't say, "Hey, you may get a little shock." He just told me to touch here. When the first time when it didn't work, he's like, "Huh."
That should have shocked you.
I know.
I guess I was leaning the first time and didn't realize it. I don't know.
Why is that not shocking you right now? So, but yeah, no, that was a good story, and yeah, we lived to tell the tale.
We did
and,
indeed.
and it's a good example now when I have people wanting to do new construction. That was
Yes.
one of my examples. Hey, these people, who knows if you had wet hands or whatever else, you could have gotten
cooking.
seriously injured if that wasn't caught. So, but yeah, so there's definitely things to be found.
Nowadays it's doing the pre-sheetrock inspections are becoming bigger for us, and it's because they're moving so fast and they're
Right.
missing so many things. And I'll give you two real quick ones. That one of them was they just forgot to run the vents through the roof. So I'm getting in the attic, and then I'm like, actually, I saw it from the outside. I'm like, I only see like two vents.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. So I go
Oh
in
my
there, and
God.
the pipes were there. They just never cut the hole and ran them through the roof.
Oh my God.
And so the buyer shows up, and we're talking about it. And so I took him up in the attic and showed him, and the superintendent shows up. And so I took him up there, and he was in this absolute disbelief. And I was like, yeah, that's not a good thing to do. But
That's
fortunately, we caught
crazy.
that one, and they were able to get it fixed real quick and move on.
Yes.
So
So that's a good story. So actually, we're having a pre-sheetrock tomorrow. Maybe
Okay.
you or someone from your company is doing one for me over in Town Lake.
Matthew and I are both doing that one.
Okay. So,
Okay.
but speaking of trying to hurry up the process, he was like, "Yeah, you need to get your inspector in on this day because we need to get insulation in, and the earliest they have to do it no later than Saturday morning." Otherwise, we're going to be like delayed by 2 weeks because they're all booked out and all
Sure.
this stuff. Well, they call my client last night and say, "Hey, can we go ahead and do the pre-sheetrock walk today, like the day before the inspection?"
Wow.
I was like, that makes no sense. I was like, so I told my clients, like, no. I was
Yeah,
like, that
what
makes
is-
zero sense for us to do a pre-sheetrock walk and then have the home inspected.
Yeah.
And then just hope they're going to, do everything on that inspection report. It's like, no, we got to do the walk with an inspection report in hand. So,
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes those guys will do that in the hopes that they can't get the inspector scheduled quick enough.
Yeah.
That way they
Yeah.
can keep moving.
Keep moving the house.
Yeah.
Right.
And those guys, they are under a lot of pressure. You
They are.
know, I've held
Yeah, you
people,
guys
I've
both would
managed
know.
these things. It's a lot of pressure, but it's a lot of planning that goes into it, and they don't schedule things. And all of a sudden, they just throw it on you, and they'll throw it on a real estate agent. They throw it on a buyer because they're like, hey, you get this done because I got this guy scheduled, and this is the only time he's available. Come on, you've heard this a million times. He's only available, and if I don't get him, and it's just all of those things. But kudos to you for standing there, being an advocate for the customer and the client, and understanding, say, no, this is a very important phase of it, and I know it appreciates you, because I want to ask you a follow-up question. You do have to you're grading other people's papers. And that's how it feels in home building. And when you go and you have to say this is a C, D, or whatever, how are you handling that?
Well, that's, the one thing about being a builder is I just hand off the inspection report and they take it from there. So I don't really have to deal with it. The superintendents don't want to talk to us anyway. They don't really like us because we're grading,
yeah.
as you say,
You're
we're
grading the
grading
paper.
their work.
yeah, this
so-
one even told us that she's not going to talk to the inspector.
Yeah,
I'm
which
not
is
gonna meet the
so,
inspector.
which I don't get, because you're there to help him. I mean, it's literally someone checking your work
Right.
for you and saying, hey, you missed here and you missed there, and it helps you build a tighter home and deliver a better product. Why is that?
Yeah.
people don't like it. You're telling them what they did wrong.
Anytime you're getting
and
critiqued, right?
Yeah.
And just like,
I never cared. For me,
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't bother me.
When I was a builder, if it happened, you know what? It's another.
Thank you.
It's a list of phone calls. It's not like I'm
Right.
up on the roof swinging the hammer.
We're not even allowed to
It's-
have them.
and the best part is, okay, yeah, I got to fix some stuff, but now I'm not in their house after closing.
Yes.
Right.
I don't have to go back and interrupt their day and take my day to go into an occupied home. It's much nicer if I can just if they can get it done beforehand and not have to
Right.
worry about it.
right? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in terms of inspections, so I thought it'd be kind of fun if you give me a horror story. Like, what is your most memorable inspection? They're like, oh my gosh.
Gosh, I can go back to let's see, it's 2010 maybe.
Yeah.
So, no, it was year one. So
Right.
still stupid, not really thinking straight, and want to find everything. And I go into this house. It was out in Conroe, and the homeowner had to be a weekend warrior. Did everything himself, never hired anybody, and. So I go into this house, and I'm in the attic, and I'm in the garage, which was a attached garage, but not sheetrocked, oddly.
Okay.
And there were
Interesting,
wires
yeah.
hanging from the ceilings, no wire nuts, not inside a box or anything like that. And again, year one, so I'm still, pretty young in the inspection world anyway. And in my mind, never in my wildest dreams did I expect that the wires would be hot, even though they're hanging. So I touched it, and boy, it bit me. It bit pretty hard. I still remember that because I was like, why did I just do that? But, as I walk through this house, now I'm checking, before I touch them, checking to see if they're hot. And this guy had maybe 10, 12 wires just hanging from the ceilings hot.
Oh my God.
And,
wow.
and I try not to be an alarmist. We're here to share information with the customer and make sure they have an understanding of what they're getting into. Very rarely do I say, time out, and the buyer got there, the agent got there, and I told her, I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but this guy's a do-it-yourselfer, and it is very clear he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I would say 100% an electrician needs to cover this house top to bottom because we don't know what all he's done.
Right.
So that was probably one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
We've had some really bad termite houses and things like that, but that one, from a safety standpoint, that was probably one of the worst ones I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And stuff. 13 years later, still think about it and still share it when I teach my classes. I still share that story.
Yeah.
Because some people think, oh, yeah, electrician, get it done, but sometimes we're going to say, you got to get it done before closing. Make sure that, so.
Yeah.
So what are common things here in the Houston area and Houston environment that you will find on a house, say that's 20, 25 years old,
20,
or 10 to 20 maybe even, because it's a little more common in Cypress. So what are you looking for? I mean, you mentioned termites. I'm assuming those are still fairly common, right?
They're pretty common, yeah. I mean, most inspectors, but inspectors, you have to be licensed to do a termite inspection and write a WDI, wood destroying insect report. And so, and I own a pest control company, so all of my guys are licensed to do that as well. So they're always, we do those kind of inspections for a customer. For if they're doing a VA loan, they have to have that done. But above and beyond the termites, roof is always a big one.
Right.
Air
Yeah.
conditioning is probably the biggest question and concern.
Right.
And then foundation. Those are your big three.
Right. Okay.
I mean, you have your other ones, they're water heaters and things like that. But the big three in my mind would probably be the roof, the AC, and the foundation.
How about mold? And we'll talk more about this later because another one of your businesses. But is that something that's people always ask about mold and are always concerned about mold because you hear all the horror stories?
You have to have a source.
Yes.
Mold doesn't grow by itself, so there has to be some form of a leak, or something, at least for the bad mold.
Right.
We do mold inspections. We do air quality testing. Not every every house is going to have some form of mold. You open up the door, mold spore is going to blow in from the outside.
Okay.
You get in your car, they go in there with you. So it just depends on the kind of mold.
Got it.
I don't go into every house thinking it's going to have the the really bad stuff, but
Right.
we're certainly
Black
looking
mold.
for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. I tell my guys, when you get in there and start inspecting, assume it has mold and you got to find it.
Yeah.
And if you don't find it, that's a great thing for the customer.
Right.
So and sometimes we do. It just kind of
Yeah.
depends. But the bigger the problem, then we're going to get out there and have to do additional inspections and things like that as well.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on what they find.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing I want to go into, and kudos to you, because not all inspectors are built the same. You're actually internationally certified, and a lot of respect for people who are in this construction industry. Not all the inspectors are built the same. So you having that level of the education, being certified, and for those that know, it's International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. The guy's got a big YouTube channel and things like that. I know all you guys kind of watch it. But when you're going out, an inspection report, as Jim mentioned, can be very overwhelming for people.
Sure.
How are you helping and assisting these customers with prioritizing things? I mean, Jim, we'll see it. Put everything on the report, the repair addendum. How are you, what are you seeing as far as prioritization? I know it's safety first. All safety items
Sure.
are first. You have to, and hope the real estate agents are listening. Safety items are the must, and got to be the first thing we're trying to rectify. But what else are you doing, or what advice can you give agents?
What I do with customers is, if they show up, most of them come, and I like for them to come at the end.
Okay.
Most of them will come in the last 15, 30 minutes, and that's just to go over, the findings. And I don't put it in a bracket, this is the worst thing. I go through everything with them, and I tell them, if you're going to ask for 5 things, on the addendum, these are the things I would go to.
Yes.
You're going to go for the meat, the big things, the expensive things, the safety items, like you said. So when we get to that point going over with them, I'm gonna run through everything I found. We'll go through every single photo that we took. But we will say, if we're asking for 5 things, these are the 5 things that you should consider.
Okay.
The rest of it, little things, handyman things, just normal homeowner maintenance, if you will. Those things, the things you can take care of, but the things that are going to cost you money, things that need further evaluation, like an AC problem or something like that, we're going to really push that on them to make sure they get that looked at prior to
Okay.
closing.
That's good. Yeah, it can just be overwhelming for some people.
It can.
Especially
It
looking at
can.
them. So no, thank you. Hopefully that helped 2 groups: the customers and the agents that watch the show. So thank you for that.
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we move forward, there's one other story I wanted to tell with Blake. Another inspection story.
All right.
I love your eyes. It's like
And he'll know. It was back in the day where you used to test TMP valves. So again, TMP valves aren't really tested at all anymore, right?
Nope. Trek doesn't really back you up anymore. They
Yeah.
say there's a 60% failure rate after the 3rd year.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wow.
so, if we go in and we open one, 3 different things can happen. Number one, it opens and it closes. That's great.
Yeah.
The second one would be you open it and water starts running and it won't close. And then the third one is you open it and it doesn't open, it doesn't close, it just stays right where it's at.
Yeah.
So, back in the day, we would test them. And the agent was like, and I tested it and it failed. And the agent told them that I broke it. And I told the seller that, and I need to pay for it. And I was like, no, ma'am, I did not break it. I tested it and it failed. A bit of a difference here. And we went back and forth, and and she was like, well, I'm going to tell my customer to sue you. Okay, so I get on the phone with him and
Trek violation.
completely explained it to him, and he was like, oh yeah, I got it, not a problem. He said, I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So she was upset and she wanted me to pay for it, and I got on the phone with him and explained it, and he was like, yeah, I got it. But
And the one I'm thinking of may be a little different story, because
Oh,
this
okay.
owner was pissed. It's the one where you opened it and there was you didn't know this after the fact, but when they're building the house brand new,
Okay.
they're building a house and they're obviously sawing some wood or whatever in the rafters of the house. Well, they sawed a little bit of the TMP pipe going out of the TMP valve.
so I'll put a cut in the pipe.
So there was a little slice in the TMP valve. So unbeknownst to anyone, right? Blake tested. I think it worked. I think he
did?
opened it. It closed.
Yeah.
It was all good. I get a phone call at like 11 p.m. from a dude that is pissed. It's the homeowner. It's like, yeah, you guys did the inspection at my house today. I just want to let you know that there's water running down the wall and the whole sheetrock needs to be replaced. And he's like, someone needs to come, take care of this now. I'm like, it's freaking 11 o'clock at night.
I remember
was
that.
like,
I remember that well.
He's like, yes, I remember.
could have waited.
So, I went back out there and, I did my due diligence. I had my camera ready and I searched through the insulation and I found the cuts in the pipe.
Yeah.
And that was very unfortunate, obviously.
Right,
We certainly want to leave the home as we found it. That one we didn't know for hours, but
you never would. And they obviously didn't get it tested at all, when they built the house. But it's just, I mean, the inspector's job, it just has to be stressful because you never know when something like that's going to happen, right? Oh,
Yep.
crap, if I do this, what's going to, what's going to break or what am I going to screw up?
We've done over 19,000 inspections. We've had 4 or 5 over 19,000 inspections. I call that pretty decent.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going
That's
to argue
great.
that rate. But, sometimes things happen. He complained to Trek and And we had to do. He did his little story, and I had to respond and all that. And Trek was like, "No, you're good." It was unfortunate, but it was good. And I offered to split the cost with him, and then never heard back from him. And for about a year and a half, I don't know if you know that part. The follow up. About a year and a half later, he files another complaint with Trek and said, "Yeah, well, he never paid me." And I was like, I fired right back, and I was like, you know what? You never showed me a receipt. You never contacted me again.
Right.
Here's the email of me actually asking you for it, so let's not go there either. And Trek was like, hey, you're good again.
Exactly.
Thank you, Trek. I appreciate it.
I'm a huge fan. Hey, and for those people that are listening, may not know what a TMP valve, we're talking about the
temperature and pressure valve on the side of the water heater.
There you go. We're talking about water heaters, people.
And what is the purpose of a TMP valve? Why is it even there?
So it gets too hot inside the water heater, pressure builds up, that valve releases to relieve the pressure. So if they go bad, then obviously they're not going to work. If you want to go on Mythbusters and type in temperature and pressure valve water heater, you'll see a pretty crazy video about it too.
I've seen that, actually.
But you're really supposed to open those things up about twice a year, let them run for about 10 seconds, and that keeps them, keeps it moving. If you don't do that, then it kind of seizes up, and that's when it doesn't work. But that TV show one, that's a funny one to see because you can see what happens if they do fail.
The pressure.
So,
Wow. Yeah. Then rocket ship, right?
It took off like a missile. It was crazy. It shot a couple 100 feet in the air in that episode. Now that was a simulation, of course, but I'm not saying that any bad valve is going to blow up your house, but the potential is there. So
yeah, that's nuts.
Well, it's really a homeowner maintenance thing, and I say it. I mean, we know it especially as real estate agents. A lot of people buy homes. They don't understand the maintenance schedule of a home. It's not written anywhere for most people that buy like resale homes. I know the builders give the maintenance checklist, but I tell people, I ask them about their car, and they can only tell me about the oil change. They can't tell me about any other maintenance they need to do to that car. The cabin, they can't go anywhere any further than that, than the oil light, right, or the tire pressure. Well, homes don't have those gauges on them.
They do not.
And maybe technology would get there, but it's one of those things where it's really deferred maintenance and things like that. And for a lot of people, when someone, it's like going to the doctor for a physical, and they're like, "You've been eating crap all week. I mean, all year long,
your whole life.
Your whole life." And I got to tell you all of these things. As an inspector, you got to tell them all these things, and it can just feel like, oh, I got a bad house, or it's like, we get it. You don't understand how to maintain your home, and hopefully, you got somebody maybe that can help you, but an inspection is definitely there to give you a status report.
It is, and it's funny because some people say, oh, you got to do maintenance on your house every month, and people aren't going to do that every month.
Right.
I've actually broken it down into 2 times, 2 times a year. And the way I do my house, and I send out to all my clients and my agents with the time change. So that weekend, if the time's changing that weekend, that Blake's at his house, working on his house, doing the maintenance things that need to be done. And we send it out to our customers saying, hey, it's that time. You need to get these things done, and we'll talk to you again in March. So.
And Blake, that's a good lead in because you're a teacher. And that's one of your courses that I noticed that you have their home maintenance advice and why you shouldn't roll your eyes.
Yep.
So for the agents that are out there, maybe listening, maybe they can contact you to get signed up for some CE, some continuing education, and learn some things.
That would be
stuff
wonderful.
Like that. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, we're doing classes all over Houston. I think we start in August again. Usually the summertime we stop just because agents they're out doing showings and whatnot and their other stuff. But once fall comes, mid-August, we start doing classes a couple a week, and I do them all over the city. So
that's awesome.
Nice.
That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's move on to your second business. So we have Texas Certified Home Inspection is your original, your baby, and then you expanded. What is business number 2?
So business number 2 started, maybe 2 years after I started Texas Certified Home Inspection, doing all the home inspections, and I was subbing out the termite inspections at that point. And at some point, I was just like, I don't know why I'm waiting on this guy to show up, and I can be doing this myself. So I went and got a license to do pest control through another company, and I did that with them for 2 years, and then I started up Texas Bugs. So Texas Bugs is my pest control company.
Right.
We are basically Cypress and Katy.
Okay.
Is where we service. At least for general, we can do termite jobs throughout the city and rat exclusions and things like that. But for the most part, we're Cypress, Katy. And we run the WDI inspections are run through that, and then the rest of it, we take care of our customers. If they need pest control, they sign up with us, and we take care of it from there.
Okay.
And so
Nice. Yeah, I told Rodney the other day that you had mentioned to me one time, and partially in jest, but rats and mice are going to put your kids through college.
that is a true statement. That is a true statement. It's. And I actually told a lady that one time. She was like, "Yeah." She said, "Very frustrating." She said, "We can hear them running above our head." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "We'll have you taken care of in less than a week. Not a big deal." And she kept talking about it, and she said, "Well, you're much cheaper than the other people I spoke to." And I said, "Well, we try to make it reasonable for you and reasonable for us."
Okay.
And I said, "But I said, rats will put my kids through college. There's no question about it."
So rats. Shout out to the rats.
Yeah, right. So that's midsummer and around December, January is the best times when people hear them running around the most. So
Yeah.
if you hear something running above your head in the attic, give us a call. We'll help you out.
And it seems to be usually around new construction, right? That's a big part of it.
New construction, you're gonna get mice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a funny story.
Yeah.
I had a lady. My wife and I were downtown one night at a show and out to dinner, and I don't know why I had the bug phone with me. It was in my pocket, and it rang at like 10:30, and I was like, I'm not answering that. And 10:45, it rings again.
Oh, no.
And then didn't ring again that night, and then at 6:15 the next morning, rings again, and I was like, geez. And then 6:45, so finally at 6:45, I answered the phone, and I was like, hello, Texas Bugs. This the bug guy? Yes, ma'am. I need you to come to my house right now. It's 6:40. I know it's 6:45 in the morning. I need you to come right now. I was like, I'm thinking she better be in my neighborhood or I'm not coming. So fortunately, she was in my neighborhood. And so I was like, okay, let me, get dressed and get some coffee. I'll head that way. Well, how long will it take you? I said, just a little while, ma'am. I'll be there. And so she texted me the address. My wife's like, you didn't ask why you're going over there. I go, doesn't matter. I could hear it in her voice. It did not matter.
Right.
So I pull up, and she's in the driveway waiting for me, and get out of my truck. And I happen to notice the lot to the left of hers had just been freshly scraped. They're getting ready for foundation. So, field mice, they live in the fields, So I said, you have a rat problem, don't you? And I use rat just because people know that word more than mice anyway. So she was like, how do you know that? And I said, when did you move in? She said, yesterday. And I said, when did they scrape that lot next to you? She goes, yesterday. I said, were your doors open? Yes. All day? Yes. I said, well, ma'am, they put a tractor on those mice house.
There you go.
And so they came running. And so I go into the home, and the mother-in-law takes me to her room. And it was a downstairs second master. And she takes me to puts me right in the bathroom, and then she starts banging on the closet door. And a mouse ran right between my feet.
Oh, my God.
And so, clearly we knew what the issue was. What we didn't expect was to pull 17 mice out of her house. Over the next 5 days. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So I get why she called at 10:30, 10:45, 6:15. I get it.
Non-stop mice.
But it's with new construction, you're going to get the mice. When you get into the older sections of our neighborhood or any other neighborhood for that matter. Lots of trees, you're going to have the big roof rats and things like that. So,
Yeah.
So we deal with both, though. That's the good part. And
With trees, you say rats like trees?
No, just when you have
More established.
more established neighborhoods.
Right, gotcha.
So when you
Okay.
got the little stick trees out there, you're just going to deal with the mice for the most part.
Right,
So,
right. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Texas Bugs, and I love the slogan, let us kill what bugs you.
Yeah, I'm going to give credit to my wife on that one.
okay.
We were sitting there, and I was like, I need a slogan. She came up with that, and I was like, done. I like it.
I like it too.
So
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's great. So so business good.
business is
And
great.
You do the routine maintenance. I know you guys do that for my house.
Yep.
So that is, what do you recommend? Every 2-3 months? How often? Do you?
What's typical is every 3 months.
3 months, okay.
If you have if someone's on a lake lot and they're having bigger issues, sometimes we move them every 60 days. But for the most
Okay.
part, normal house, normal neighborhood, middle of the street kind of thing. Every 90 days is what's typical and what is reasonable.
Yeah.
I talk to customers or potential customers, and they're like, well, they have me on there as every 60 days or every month, and every month, why are you out there every month? and I'm like, and what are you paying? And they're telling me, and I'm just like, wow, they're hitting you from both sides,
Yeah.
too often and too much. So, but yeah, quarterly is what's what really is needed, unless there's extraordinary circumstances around the home.
It's an interesting business, in that it's the only business that in our particular section of the neighborhood that still goes door to door to try to sell you their business. I
We
mean,
don't do
really,
that.
no one else does that. I mean,
Yeah.
except for that business. Yeah, Blake's never done that.
Well, we don't do that.
But it's weird that it
Yeah.
would be the bug industry that's going to be the one that still goes old school
Yeah.
door to door vacuum style salesman to try to
they're
sell
going
their
to the
services.
problem.
It's very strange. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure how that came about, but yeah, that's interesting.
I've had those guys ring my doorbell, and some of them I'm like, look, dude, I own a pest control company, but then, if they, I had one guy's like, well, maybe we're better than you, and I'm, he actually, and I thought it was kind of funny that he said that, but so sometimes I'll talk to the guys, and I don't even tell them I own a pest control company, and what I don't like about doing it that way is the high pressure. These guys, they try to scare you,
Yes.
Right.
They push, and you know what? You come into my home and start telling me what's what. That's not happening here,
Yeah.
So. My suggestion is instead of getting the first guy that rings your doorbell, get online, see who the neighborhood likes, who does good service for you.
Yeah.
That's why I love going on the Facebook page for our neighborhood, because somebody asks, who do you use? And I'll have 10 people say Texas Bugs right off the bat.
Yeah.
You'll get some other
Awesome.
guys, good guys out there too. I'm not
Yeah.
going
Right.
to take away from those guys, but I really like seeing my company name out there 10 times out of 12. That's nice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's great.
So-
Yeah, that's what you want.
No, that's really good. No, it's it's an interesting thing. I got one more thing for you. Those guys go door to door and they do some of those things and everything. But you have this nice marketing thing here. I don't know if the fans can see. Jim, I'm gonna hand you one here, and oh man, that just is for anyone watching. The little what do we call it? Little cockroaches. Yeah. So if we see this somewhere, I love it. It's
That's
Texas Bugs, man. Give
Yeah.
me a call, and,
Yeah,
and we'll let him hang
It's
with us for a little
scary.
while here.
Oh yeah, my daughter's used this in our house before, putting it on pillows and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
scaring
yeah.
my wife. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
We got
Very-
him.
I put those roaches in my swag bags, my agent bags, and
Yeah.
things like that. And it's funny because I'm teaching a CE class, and those roaches are in there, and some people don't even look through the bag until 20, 30 minutes into the class, and all of a sudden you'll go, somebody will jump and scream, But it's funny, those roaches, they look so real.
Oh,
and at the lawn and garden show we did over at the Berry Center a couple years ago, I had a jar of them. There were 2,200 of them in there, and this lady comes up and she was like, "Ooh, can I have some of those?" And the whole idea with the jar was, guess how many roaches are in here. You get a free spray on your house.
Oh.
Okay.
And
Nice.
so we were doing that, and that's how we were kind of marketing, getting people's email addresses and whatnot. And this lady walks up and she says, she's like, "Ooh, can I have some of those?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I guess. Take what you need."
Yeah.
And she double fisted. She took two hands and
Double.
shoved it in there, and gosh, she
Wow.
probably took 100 of them. And I was like, "What are you gonna do with those?" She's like, "Are you kidding me?" She said, "They're gonna go in my kids' food. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make ice cubes with them. They're gonna go in their beds." And I was like, I'm thinking I could drink a beer with her because she likes to mess with her kids like I
Right.
see.
Yeah. I love these things, man.
That's awesome.
But then I've also had people come completely unglued when they see those things, and they're very upset and they're very bothered by the fact that I'm using roaches, which is entertaining in itself.
Oh yeah.
So-
Yeah. Love it. Texas Bugs.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to your third and final business. So you started this one within the past year, right?
So we've been doing mold inspections through TCHI, for years, but decided to separate it. That way I can market that company a little stronger. Texas Mold Advisors. And we do the inspection, and then, obviously if there's a problem, then it's going to have to be remediated. We can't do that part of it, but we do all the inspection part.
Okay.
And it's nice that we separated it simply because now we have it, have them separated where people can now see, yes, we also do this versus home inspection. Oh, okay, it's just a home inspection. But no, we are, I've been mold certified for, 10 years now.
Okay.
Just never really put it out there by itself. And now that I've done that, and it's now, Texas Mold is now maybe 3 months in versus doing it from the home inspection company, and it's just gone crazy.
Yeah.
A little faster than I expected. I did, I actually told 2 agents that we were opening and very soon, and they went back and told their entire offices, and I wasn't ready yet. I mean, I was ready to do the inspections, but not through Texas Mold. And it was she went back, or both of them went back and told their separate offices, and I think I ended up doing 10 in a week.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay, this is going to go crazy when we actually do go full out.
Yeah.
So, and it has not slowed down, which
Yeah.
is a good part. So we're actually able to get out there and help people, which is, that's obviously the ultimate goal, is to make sure everybody's safe and not having to deal with anything like that.
So what is a circumstance where someone is going to call you for a mold inspection? Is it always typically part of just a new home inspection when they buy a house, or what are the?
No, now that I've this gotten out there to some of the bigger box offices, the real estate offices, maybe their inspector found a problem. Now they're calling us to come take a look and do some testing. Different issues. You have to have a source for it to grow. So sometimes they know exactly where it's coming from, but they have to have a protocol for a remediator to do the work. Remediator can't do the work without a protocol. So they're just calling us in to do that, to write the protocol. Sometimes it's they think they have a problem, they can smell something, but they can't figure out what it is, and they'll bring us in to do that. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. So is that you, or do you have someone else doing those for you? Or what?
I'm the one that does them now.
Okay.
One of my guys is in training to do that.
Okay.
So, if I'm doing one, he's with me, which is nice.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
but yeah, as of right now, I'm the only one doing those.
Okay. Very good. Awesome. Okay. Well, no, that's you're a busy man. Got a lot of balls in the air.
Just gotta
So
think, what am I thinking up in 3 different companies?
right.
Yeah,
But I like it. I like it. It keeps me
Yeah.
busy. Keeps the get the kids through college. That's
Right. Yeah.
Ultimate
That's the
goal.
deal.
yeah, exactly.
So speaking of kids, I guess tell us a little about you. Where you keep mentioning your neighborhood. So what neighborhood is that?
So I live in Bridgeland, out in Cypress.
Okay. Yep.
We started here across, like you said earlier, in Cypress Creek Lakes. We lived
Yep.
there 5 years, and it's a nice neighborhood, but it didn't have that neighborhood feel, if you will. It was nice homes. And we were on a lake. It was great, but I was doing a home inspection. This was back in 2011, and here in Bridgeland. And it was a Friday afternoon, maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I leave the house and I'm driving out, and there are people everywhere. All the kids are out in the cul-de-sacs playing. There's all the mothers on the street are out there talking and having drinks, and the husbands are all standing in their circle away from the wives, having their drinks and
The
doing
husband
whatever
circle.
And so I went home and I got my wife. I was like, get in the truck. And she was like, where are we going? I was like, I just want to show you something. And so we drove over there, and I went right back the exact same street. And I showed her, I was like, this is what I want. This is what I want for us. This is what I want for the kids.
Right.
I want them to have that. Because my neighborhood, again, nice neighborhood, but did not have that kind of feel to it. And
Right.
so we listed the house a week later, and, it was done deal.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
and we've
Very
been here
good.
ever since. We've been here 12
Yeah.
years now. So
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's
No,
good.
that's good. Nice community feel and everything like that. I tell
Yep.
everybody, it's hard to find that in the MLS and find that looking at photos. You got to know someone local in the area that can at least show you, like, this is what this community about. This is what it's about. So, yeah, local is always the best way to go.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cypress Creek Lakes is a good neighborhood and good schools and everything else. But yeah, Bridgeland just kind of takes up a notch. You'll pay a little more of a premium for Bridgeland.
You
Always
do.
have.
You do.
But,
It's a step
but-
above, though.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You kind of get what you pay for in that regard. And the taxes are getting a little lower now. I don't know if you saw that, but
I
the
haven't
tax
seen it.
rates.
It just irritates me every time I see it, so I don't even look
Yeah,
anymore.
but the tax rate is now less than 3. It's like 2.95 before a homestead exemption.
oh,
so
nice.
so after we're looking 2.6 ish. But no, so that's
a little
kinda-
better.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
So
Yeah.
with the appraisals going as high as they are, it's nice that the rates are getting a little lower. But yeah. So what other than the community feel? What are some things you like about Bridgeland? Been there 11 years, so. If someone moving in asking you, "Hey, I'm thinking about Bridgeland," what are some of your pros?
One of the reasons we want to be here, in addition to the homely feel, is the amenities.
Yeah.
We've got the lakes. I fish with one of my boys. The second one's starting to get into it a little bit. Not as much. He's not as patient as the first. But
Right.
you've got that. You've got the normal stuff. You got the clubs, the pools, the tennis, all that stuff. But the
Yeah.
lakes are really, I like that. For me,
Yeah.
they're calming.
Right.
Yes.
And a lot of hiking out here and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. You got the events too, like the barbecue cook-off and chili cook-off. I know
Yep.
we've been together to some of those in the past.
Okay.
And the Nature Fest and Halloween
Yeah.
Fest and
Developers
all
done
that
a good job. They give you what you want in a community feeling.
Right.
For
Yeah.
the most part. So.
stuff. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And that's Howard Hughes development up in the Woodlands as well. So
And the schools, right? You've had good luck with the schools. I mean,
Yeah,
for the
well,
most
you look
part.
at the schools, they're rated, I don't know if they're number one, but they're right up there in the top
Right.
3 or so.
Yeah, so I've always been happy with the schools. So,
Good.
did you see the school rankings came out? Did your boys look at that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, school rankings came out like 2 days ago.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh yeah, Sam and Nicole are big time in competition. It's so funny watching them compete.
My boys will be back today, so maybe we'll be looking at that
Yeah,
tonight.
go look at
Now that I know, we're certainly going to look it up.
Oh
so.
yeah, so Sam's higher, and he let Nicole know.
I'm
so.
sure he did. I'm sure he did.
So, but yeah, so that was the big news for this week from schooling. But
Yeah, Nicholas, I'm sure will be running around the house letting everybody know where he's at. I'm
Yeah.
sure of it. So.
So one of the things we talked about an extensive amount yesterday was Hurricane Beryl.
Okay.
Power outage. I'm pretty sure your section was out of power for a bit, right?
We were.
How'd you get it through? How'd that go for you?
Well, I ordered a generator.
Okay.
And I'm sure you've seen on the Brian Milan's put a lot of stuff on for Duramax generators and how to do it and get it hooked up. And I ordered a larger one than most people have just because that's just what I do.
Okay.
Tell me that I need something and I'm going to probably get the one step up. Just,
What size did you get?
I got the 15,000.
Okay. Yeah,
You know,
that's
most
nice.
people are buying
Yeah.
the 13, and I got it
Okay.
just because, again, if I ever need something more,
Right.
But it wasn't. It was that one was actually on back order, and it was not supposed to be here. It was supposed to ship on the 3rd, and I got home on the 1st, and it was in my driveway on a crate.
Oh, nice.
And so now I'm scrambling because I was trying to. And that was less than a week before the storm.
Right.
And so now I'm scrambling to get it done. I had to get everything ordered, and then I had to get the plumber out there and get the electrician out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, so fortunate that I got both the electrician and the plumber at my house on Sunday morning.
Oh,
The day
wow.
before, both of them got there at 9 o'clock, and I was
Wow.
up and running by 11.
Nice.
So
And in
That's
home
great.
building, those are two guys that don't like each other, by the way. I know that. Those are two trades that don't like each other very
yeah,
well. So.
we were fortunate they got along. But
Normally they don't want to. Yeah.
as long as they got me taken care of, I was not my problem.
So
But yeah.
what kind of fuel? Was it
We ran
gasoline?
it. I had them. No, I had them run it off my my gas
Natural?
meter.
Oh, okay, nice.
So-
So, didn't have to go to the gas station and fill up. Nice.
Nothing. It was
Nice.
literally, and I was on Sunday. I was doing the break-in period.
Yeah.
Where you let it run for a couple hours with nothing, and then you put a light load on it and do that, and then Monday morning it was power went out, and it was time for it to do its thing, and boy, it did it.
Yeah.
It had. I had both ACs on, running full blast, everything in the house.
Wow.
I didn't want to, because it was the first day, I didn't want to push it too much, so I had the pool off. But then at one point, just to get some circulation in the pool, I turned off the upstairs AC and ran the pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
But everything was
Awesome.
going without an issue. It was great.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
if y'all
Great
don't have
timing.
a generator and you don't like heat, I highly suggest
Yeah.
getting on Facebook and Bridgeland Facebook and looking at Brian Milan. He's got
Yeah.
videos out there and explaining what to do and how to do it. And it's
So
not
what
crazy
what did you
expensive.
pay? Yeah, because Generac full home, those are like 15 grand, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is much more.
mine. So the 13,000, which is what everybody recommends, a little bit smaller than the one I got. I think they're running for about $19.99 right now.
Okay.
Every once in a while they'll have a sale of $100, $200, but
Okay.
I think I looked for my mother.
$1,000. Okay, much cheaper than 15 grand.
Right. So mine was $29.50.
Okay.
And then you had to get electrician was like $500, $600,
Yeah.
and then the plumber was about $300.
Okay.
And they come in, yeah.
So 3,000 or 4,000. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but yet
still
I
much
didn't
better.
lose my my deep freeze and my
Yeah.
and my
Right,
deer
huge.
meat and my fridge and all that stuff.
Right,
I didn't
yeah.
lose anything, which was fantastic.
Right.
So,
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Did your friends and family do okay through the storm? I
Oh,
know you
yeah.
have friends and loved ones and everything like that.
yeah,
around,
everybody.
so-
Mom actually had to. They packed up and went elsewhere.
Okay.
You know.
That's where I was going.
I was checking with her, and she was like, "No, we're going to go over here and stay for a couple of days." And
Okay.
it took them, I think, 5 days to get back.
Okay.
Before they were able to get back in the home. But
Yeah.
yeah, everybody's. My sister's like, well, 'cause we talked about her getting, and she was like, "What do I need one for? You got one." And I said, "No, that's a fair point. You know,
Right.
just
Yeah.
come on over here.
Well, the
and hang
big
out."
thing's your refrigerator, right? To not get everything in your refrigerator and thrown out.
She's
so.
in Fairfield, and she never lost power.
Yeah.
So-
That's crazy. Well,
Okay.
we never lost power. Across the
Yeah,
lake
your
from me.
section, something's going on. I think y'all are.
I told him, he keeps
So
just saying,
right
I'm
across
like,
the lake.
be careful just saying that, because a lot of
I want to be on the Rosita Creek grid.
Right. I don't know. Yeah. So, no issues.
How about you, Rodney?
No, I was down about, I think I said 4 or 5 days somewhere in there. But I have great neighbors. I will want to mention that. We got through and they kept, it was weird for me because it was one of those things where I forgot what they call it, a certain type of outage where one section may have it. Literally, it was like my house and to the right, no power. To the left, everybody had power.
Oh,
so
no kidding.
it's this weird thing. You see the neighborhood lit up on one side and people in the dark, and maybe some people are even in that situation now. But I'm going to tell you, I have some really, really good neighbors. And when we got through, it was like a Christmas carol at my house. I had neighbors coming in. They said, "Are you going to be home at this time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'll be home," and dishes of food. They all brought all of this stuff, cooked
awesome.
barbecue this, and I mean, it was just crazy. It was like a funeral. I'm like, who died? What's going on? But they just was loving on us, and then I'm the unofficial mayor of the neighborhood, but they came in and they really did that for my family, and I want to thank all of them, and
Awesome.
really do. That's just, and again, so I really understand what you mean. It's really not about the house. It's about the community.
Yep,
It's
certainly.
really about the community. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we good, and I got a generator.
There you go. There you go.
Generator, and I got all my stuff and got the electrician out, and I love that because it's like being a home builder,
Right.
calling trades, and what? Let me see this.
If I go back to my first house, and I had I guess my eyes were bigger than everything else. I was sitting there looking at this house, but when I bought it, and I was like, this yard is amazing. It was a cul-de-sac lot, big pie. And I loved it until I mowed it the first time.
Oh,
yeah.
But and then running hoses to sprinkle it, that was horrible. And so I finally, and that was my first home, so I didn't have a lot of money, but I kept setting aside every month. And I was like, I need sprinklers, and now I'll tell you right now, I will never have a home without sprinklers again.
Yeah.
Take it a step further after this experience last week with the generator. I will never have a home without a generator
Thank
again,
you.
no matter what.
Thank you.
Hands down, it's for sure.
Yeah. I'm seeing some builders are offering them as an option now too.
Are they?
For those that are shopping and everything like that. I want to say weekly, they're offering that as an option. We call them options, upgrades, as things you can add to the home on a new build. But I saw a few ads coming out, and they were offering the Generac and they're having it as an option, or pre-plumbing it or pre-run. Get that done here in Houston. Let me just, if you're listening, do that definitely. If you can't get the generator, get the pre-plumb. You guys know it with pools. Having your home pre-plumb for a pool and everything saves you a lot of money whenever you want to make that upgrade or change. So,
That's right.
Yeah.
So I don't have a generator, but I have my solar panels and my battery backup, which is nice. But I will say it didn't work out great during the derecho. We might have talked about this before.
Yes.
Remember the May derecho, the windstorm that we had, so we did lose power then. For a little over a day. The problem was it was cloudy all day up until the friggin' thing hit. So my batteries were like non-existent. So I'm going and turning everything off, right? Because I want to make sure refrigerators keep going and the necessities. So we have just a little bit of battery left, and I'm hoping, okay, maybe tomorrow we'll get some sun and we'll be good. Well, I forget to turn off my pool filters, and they turn on.
That'll take everything out.
Yeah, we turned on as I was sleeping, so I wake up and we are dead. I was like, damn it! It's like, at first I didn't know what happened. Everything turned off. I was like, what did I forget? It's a freaking pool filter.
Yeah.
So everything died. It was a cloudy morning. Luckily, my neighbor had a generator, so I just ran an extension cord to there.
Nice.
And that way we were able to plug in our refrigerator at least, so we didn't lose that until it got sunny, and then we ended up getting power back, and
nice.
it turned out okay. But, yeah, it's pros and cons of green energy, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of talk
It
about
works
that.
good if it's sunny. If it doesn't, it doesn't do it.
Yeah.
So, but that's great. No, that's amazing that you got that all worked out the day before the storm. That's great.
I don't know why the heavens opened up and everything kind of shined on me that
Good for
morning
you,
because
man.
to have two guys say, "Oh, I'll be there tomorrow," you hear that and you're like,
Oh yeah.
Right.
Come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
But they did. And they took care of me. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll give a shout out to them. That was Tony's Plumbing and
nice.
Kirchner Electric. That both those guys came out and took care
Okay,
of.
yeah, I've
Okay.
used Tony's Plumbing many a time. So
Okay.
Tony's just great. Yeah,
He's a landmark in this neighborhood.
right.
You know?
Yeah,
shout
so,
out Tony.
Yeah, that's right. No,
Okay.
that's great. Okay, so one thing we like to talk about for our guests, especially our guests always are from the area. What do you like to do? What if you're going to go out? Maybe you and your lovely wife Jennifer can go out. We're going to go on a date in Cypress. What would you guys do?
Now Jennifer's going to be watching this part.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm stalling. I know this is we got guys here, so I'm slowing us down.
Right.
Okay. First of all, you love her dearly. She's the love of your life.
Without
So
question.
okay,
Without question.
I'm helping you out. The floor is yours.
Yeah.
Gosh, what are we doing on? Well, okay, we went on a date night Saturday night.
Yeah.
Also, AKA birthday, Jennifer's
Nice.
birthday. So,
happy
Awesome.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Jennifer.
you know, if I'm going to say in Cypress, immediate restaurants, gosh, I mean, Dario's is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah. Good too. Yeah.
Juanita's Mexican over there at the outlet mall, one of my favorites. But if you're really looking for an amazing restaurant, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
Birthday again. So
Yeah.
the Chef's Table over for $249 at Spring Cypress.
Okay. I've not
I've
been there.
not been there.
Yeah.
Not cheap.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it again. Not
That's
cheap.
why we probably, Jim. That's probably why you and I haven't been there.
Right. Yeah. Maybe so.
The owner, the head chef, he's from South Africa. All the dishes come from that cuisine. The drinks
Okay.
are utterly amazing. I mean,
Really?
you know, and Jennifer, you know, she likes the restaurant specifically right off the bat. It's the drinks. You know,
Yeah.
they're fresh. Everything is done. I mean, I can't even explain it. You just have to try it. You know,
Okay.
and
Chef's Table. I
Chef's
remember that.
Table.
Okay.
So-
I have not even heard of that. That's good.
Well, I don't think we're going to have a choice once our wife sees this. Why haven't I been to the chef's table? You're right. We're going.
Speaking of drinks, I went to the Perry's restaurant. Remember Perry's? We
I
went
do.
there. So I told Rodney the story about you getting the recipe for the Silverita for me for
Yeah.
our birthday. Great.
Yeah.
we
that was
renamed that
cool.
the Jim Rita.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Jim Rita.
But they don't have that drink anymore.
Really?
I was going to get the Silverita. I was like, it wasn't on the menu. I was like, can you guys still make it? I was like, I can ask. Well, no, they didn't know the recipe for the Silverita. I was like, that's too bad. They had lots of other drinks. We got some good drinks over there.
I
but,
still have that recipe. I took a picture of it and printed it out. It's actually taped to the door inside my pickle cabinet. You know,
That's
so
great. I need to. You may need to send that back to me.
I can do
couldn't
that.
find it.
I can do
yeah.
that.
And it was a very simple margarita drink, but it was so good.
it was different. It was different, but boy, it was good.
Yeah, it's a good drink.
That's
So,
cool.
That's great.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's good. What is if you and this is kind of random question, but if you can go to a movie in Cypress, what theater do you go to?
We either go to Cut or we go to the one down here on Fry.
Star.
Star.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we did the top rated movie theater.
There you go.
Which one won?
Star.
Star one? Star.
Yeah,
Star. I
yeah,
talked
so-
about it yesterday, and,
Yeah.
and they came through clutch for the Cypress community during the storm. Opened up the doors, turned on the AC, cut the prices in half,
Oh,
and
nice.
let everybody in.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing some more follow up. Someone was talking about it because I kind of told that story. They were like, yeah, they were giving some freebies to the kids. Listen, great place.
They're taking care of the
Great
neighborhood.
place.
Yeah.
Taking care of the
That's
neighborhood,
great.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the
good.
big seats. I can lean back and not have to worry about it. I can come in late and not have to worry about somebody sitting in my seat. You
Oh,
know?
I always
Yeah.
take naps, though. That's the problem. They're too comfortable now.
Yeah,
If I go,
I'll
we
give you
went-
that.
We went to go watch the Despicable Me 4 with the kids this past week, and I slept through probably 3/4 of the thing. I was at Cut, but you're all slouched down. Ouch. I had no chance. It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, put me in a comfortable chair and turn off the light. I'm probably going to take a nap here or there.
Yeah.
It's like turkey.
Yeah.
I don't win.
That's good.
No, that's
All
good.
right. Well, anything else?
No, that's all. Let me check. Well, all clear. All
Yeah.
clear over here.
You have any questions for us or anything else you want to talk about or mention before
Something
we go?
missed.
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. Y'all keep it safe. Keep the more hurricanes looking to come. So
Right.
keep
yeah.
your heads down.
Just the
I don't know.
beginning. Just the
Yeah.
beginning of the season. We were talking about that yesterday. Just the beginning of the season. So
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
hopefully.
other than that, I mean, we're here for you. I know Cypher Real Estate, great agents here.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Obviously we're doing the podcast today, but agents are awesome too. Great to talk to, great to work with. So if y'all are in need, by all means, look them up, see what they can do for you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for that as well.
All right.
Thanks
yeah.
for
Thank you for
coming.
having me. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So seemed like everything worked. We're recording. I think the sound's working. So
Yeah. If not, we'll just call you back and
Right.
we'll just
Do
take
it
it from the
again.
top.
we're starting to get over the hump of actually having working podcasts because the first few did not work. We would do an entire hour podcast and I didn't record the audio one time.
Yeah.
One time, second time there's a grid going through the entire
Yeah.
screen. I mean,
We
so
got
we've
stories.
had some issues.
Well,
so
live
but-
and learn, right?
There's a blooper reel.
getting
There's a
there.
blooper reel.
We're getting getting there. We're getting there. Well, Blake, I appreciate you coming. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so we'll definitely maybe have you on again once this blows up, right? We can.
I'm gonna have to hear my
come back
voice
and
first.
reminisce.
Oh,
Right? Yeah.
listen
see
to the
what you think.
podcast. We'll see what my voice sounds like. And
Right.
Maybe we'll come back then.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, I think it's time to sign off. My name again is Jim Mulholland.
And I'm Rodney Jordan.
Blake Salcetti.
And this has been Sci-Fi Real Talk. Thank you guys for joining us. See you next time. Bye.
Boom skis.
All right, give a wave. Let's see, this camera over here.
What over there? Oh,
Over
there
there.
you go. We're going iPhone. There you go.
All
Thanks,
right.
thanks again,
Yeah,
Blake.
thank
man.
you.
I have.
Real talk with Jim